You all get out, guys.
Thank you, Madam President.
All right.
I'd also like to begin my remarks by thanking a few folks that attended meetings on the weekends, Saturdays, Sundays, stayed late at night, came in early in the morning to put a product before us I think that the state of Connecticut can be proud of. Senator Duff, Representative Nardello, Representative Reed, Representative Hoydick, Commissioner Esty, who helped get us over a couple of the bumps in the road, Liz, Alex, Paul, Katie, Patty, Ken, Dave, Jesse, Chris, Melissa, Jenna, Brad, and our resident energy guru, Kevin McCarthy. And I'd also like to thank Senator McKinney, who made his staffs and resources available to me, and for Senator Williams for the nudge on Saturday to really put this thing to bed and being able to bring it out today. You know, as the bill's title states, it's planning for our future. That's exactly what we're doing here with this bill before us. And it's kind of been a joke around the building that energy and technology were always here towards the end. Well, we want to do it right. We don't want to put forward a product and say we'll fix it next year. We have to do it right this year. Because if we don't, the effects could be devastating and extremely costly. We know that because we have the second highest rates in the nation behind Hawaii. But I believe with this legislation today, we will become number one in efficiency, number one in weatherization and technologies, and we will be on the move to downgrade our position on the high rate system. I'd like to have the lowest rates in the nation, Madam President, and we can do that if we can keep moving in this direction. You know, Albert Einstein said, if you can't explain it to a 6-year-old, then you don't understand it yourself. And I'm going to try to explain it as to how I understand what's happening in this bill. And again, extra thanks and a shout out to Senator Fonfara because he's been my mentor since I arrived on the Energy and Technology Committee 3 years ago. And he's so knowledgeable, and he's always willing to sit with you and take his time and make sure that you understand it without a rush or any pressure. And I really appreciate that. And I think that's why we're able to deliver such a product with such bipartisan support today from the very beginning. So thank you, Senator Fonfara. This bill merges two huge agencies and creates a structure that we've never seen before in the state of Connecticut. It takes environment with energy and merges them together. Generally, two thought of opposing ideals. Because if we want to have energy, well, we don't care about the environment things because it creates emissions, and well, that's a different horse of a different color. But they can be combined. And with the combination of the two, it can be a great product. And I think that merging the DPUC and the Department of Environmental Protection is a good thing. We had, prior to this, in our Energy Department, spread throughout several different agencies in the state. We had many tentacles, and we never had the full body, and that's what we're doing here. We're pulling those tentacles in and having a full body of energy so we can go to one place to look at to determine, is it working for the ratepayers of Connecticut? And one of the things that I'm very, very excited about the merger of these two agencies is that we've created a mission statement. And anybody in any business or any organization knows that the mission statement drives the agency. And the goals established here in the mission statement for the DEEP, the number one goal is to reduce rates and decrease the cost for Connecticut ratepayers. Isn't that what everybody's asking for? We're going to deliver that to you. Ensuring the reliability and safety of our state's energy supply. Increasing the use of clean energy and technologies to support clean energy. And lastly, developing the state's energy-related economy. Creating jobs. Everybody in this circle and downstairs campaigned on economy's number one. We've got to fix it. We've got to create jobs. That's the secret to making Connecticut a better state. This bill does it. And it does it in many different ways, Madam President. And I'm going to take my time and I'm going to go through the different, what I believe is the right way of how the bill was put together and how we're going to reduce our rates, create jobs, and we're going to provide a stable, clean energy. The first one is we're going to talk about how we procure or how we buy our power. Folks say, well, what do you mean you buy your power? Before this bill passes, our utility companies used to buy the power, and they would have to buy prepackaged power. So if you had a folder and he had all these different things in it. You only got the folder, and you didn't get to pick what was inside that folder. But this allows us to do that. We're going to create our own folder, and we're going to put inside that folder what we feel is right for the ratepayers of the state of Connecticut. As Senator von Farr had mentioned, that we had a laddering effect on how we purchased our power. It was over a 3-year period, so it was on a decline. So, as you know, when you take an average, it was an average over 3 years. It prevented the spikes, but that hurt us. And we learned from that hurt. As all of our neighboring states saw a decrease in their electric rates, people were saying, why is Connecticut not decreasing their rates? That's why are we second in the nation? Because of how we did things in the past. We're not doing those in the future. We are allowing for the purchase of contracts less than 6 months. Let's take advantage of that market. If the prices are going down, and we see them going down, let's take advantage of that. We're doing away with the laddering. We're enabling bilateral purchasing agreements. Well, what's a bilateral purchasing agreement? That means you, as a buyer, can go directly to the generator and say, I want X amount of power. And the generator says, I will sell you X amount of power for a certain dollar amount. So what a great contract. It's not surprising that two people should do that. We weren't allowed to do that before. We had to go through the ISO to get our power, a regional authority. Well, you know what? Maybe that wasn't the best thing for us. Now we're going to allow folks to go directly to a generator. And when we speak about procuring power, we have moved our business community to alternative suppliers. It's taken us a while to get there, folks, when we went through deregulation. But I'm proud to say over 90% of our commercial establishments are buying their power from alternate suppliers. And we're on the move for residential customers as well. We're over 40% for residential customers. Imagine you can save money on your electric bill by calling somebody up and saying, I want to change who delivers my power without interruption of service. You can do that. Just make the phone call. Go online. Check it out. You can save. The business community has realized that. We just got to get the rest of the residential community to do that. We're at 40%. Let's go for 90. Let's go for 100. We anticipate through the way we buy our power to save approximately 5% of our total cost. The state of Illinois went through a similar program where they changed how they buy their power, and they've been saving 8 to 9% of their costs. Well, folks will say, well, what is saving 5%? That's great. 5% is $55 million a year. When we're dealing with energy, we're dealing with a lot of money. When we talk about residential solar, right now we have the Clean Energy Fund. We each pay a small token onto our electric bill every month that goes into this energy fund. And every year there's $10 million available for folks that own a residence to have a solar panel constructed and placed on their family home. This bill allows it to be paid for in 3 different ways. One, you can be given a grant so you can pay with upfront cash. 2, there's payment on the production, so anticipated on how much electricity will be generated by your solar panels. And 3, a lease program. Now, I'm going to share a little personal story with you all. My wife and I applied for the program last year, and we were granted the ability to have a solar panel system placed on our primary home. And we had the panels installed in December. I started generating electricity in January until the snow came down, and then I didn't generate any in February. But I didn't also have to buy a roof rake, as many of the other people said in the community that they had to, because the snow melted a little bit faster on my roof. But it's saving us hundreds and hundreds of dollars every month. I'm not afraid to share with you, because I have 2 teenagers that live in the home who don't care. They don't pay the electric bill, so they don't care what they leave on in the TVs and when they're going to do laundry and take showers. And in the wintertime, they liked warm clothes, so they'd put them in the dryer for 10 minutes before they went to school. So I'm trying to curb that through education, because I told them it's coming out of their allowance next. But my average electric bill was over $300 a month. And I actually called CLMP and said, you need to come and change my meter because I think it's broken. I can't believe I'm using that much electricity in my home. Well, I'm proud to say with last month, my electric bill was $23. It is a savings. And I'm not only saving for myself, but I'm saving each and every one of you money on your electric bill. You say, Senator Witkos, how could you be saving us money if you're the one that's getting the benefit? But Senator Fanfara said, everything goes back to that day in July or August when it's the hottest day of the year and everybody's got the air conditioner cranked up. And then you're inside, so what are you going to do? You're going to turn the TV on. Well, if you're inside, maybe I'll put a load of laundry in. So the amount of energy that is required on that day is huge. And what happens is that price sets the energy rate for a 6-month period because we use a blended price. We don't pay, when you get your electric bill, it says, I'll use the example, 15 cents per kilowatt hour, 15 cents. So on the hot days, it doesn't go up to 37 cents. It stays at 15 cents. And then every 6 months, there's a case that's done, and they're going to review it and say, well, do we judge it right, or do we have to bump it up, or do we have to decrease it a little bit? And that's why, if we can reduce that high-end rate lower, it'll save for everybody. So that's why we're trying to induce people to, through the residential solar panel, to have solar panels or other projects put on their home, because it's clean, green, renewable energy. And we've also heard from the business community how they are struggling with their energy costs. This bill speaks to that. We create 2 pools of funds. One pool of fund that is a requirement that it creates no emissions. So if you want to have a solar panel, wind, small hydro, you as a business owner can apply for those funds. Have them installed on or within your property to reduce your electrical needs. And then we as a society will benefit because if you reduce your electrical needs on that one day in July or August that we're talking about, we all benefit by that. And if you own a business, we separated that into 3 different funds. So people that own a small business will say, well, the larger corporations are going to eat up all that money because there's only so much money available. Oh, no, we've taken care of that. We're protecting the small guy, too. We said there's going to be so much X amount of dollars available for the size of a business, which may be a pizza shop. And then there's going to be a second pot, which is available to folks that maybe own the size of a strip mall. And then the biggest category is for the large facilities, the big box stores, or one of the ones that has a very big commercial entity. They can apply for those dollars. And then we have a smaller amount of pool, which applies towards fuel cell technologies. Connecticut is the fuel cell technology of the world. Shouldn't we promote one of our own businesses by making it affordable? The more people we can turn on to fuel cells, the price will come down. It may be an enticement for other businesses across our nation to send in a sales order to Connecticut to send us a fuel cell. The costs of these programs are on a ramp-up scale. The first program I spoke of, the solar, the wind, and the hydro, is $6 million a year. And there'll be 15-year contracts that somebody will enter into. Similar to my home that I have at my house, I'm leasing my solar panel. I've entered into a 15-year contract. And that's common within the industry, because that's generally what you need for a payback period, 15 years. So if you owned ABC company, and you went in, you said, I'd like to have a solar panel installed on my business, the return, you would be set at a price 15 years if you did the lease option. And it would more than pay for itself. At the 4-year mark, Commissioner Esty, the chairman of, or the commissioner of DEEP, will evaluate the program and say, is the program meeting its needs? There's a stopgap safety measure in there, because we anticipate that as we invest in this technology, the price will come down. Similar to when TVs first came out, flat screen TVs. I know I was a lot younger then when they first came out, and I wanted one. I couldn't afford to spend $3,000 or $5,000 or $7,000 for a flat screen TV. But guess what? Now you can pick up a flat screen TV for $300 because everybody's buying them. It's a commodity that people want. Well, if we can do that to our solar industry, make it a commodity that everybody wants, it's going to drive down the cost and make it cheaper. But there's a provision in the bill that says if it does not meet the goals that this committee and this legislature has established, the program's over. The commissioner can suspend the funding for the program. That's in the solar section. In the fuel cell section, which is the low emissions, and it's not just fuel cells, because we left it out to, when I walked in the chamber earlier, there was a group of school kids in here in the 3rd grade, and I think Senator Meyer had some of his kids up here. They are our future for tomorrow. Who's to say that they are not going to invent some type of technology which is better than we even know of today? So we don't want to limit ourselves by classifying that you must meet this standard. We're saying if there's a technology that falls within the threshold of our emissions output, you're eligible for that money. We shouldn't hold ourselves harmful to the fact that if you didn't meet this small criteria, you weren't available for that money. And again, the commissioner has the ability, after 3 years of that 5-year ramp up, to look at the program and say, is it meeting the intended goals of what we've established? Are the prices coming down? If the answer is no, again, the commissioner has the ability to suspend the program. It was interesting that as we moved through the committee process that we talked about a waste. We heard anaerobic digestion, organic waste, and that was something new to me. I kind of knew what the term meant, but I wasn't sure, what are we talking about? And this bill provides for 2 pilot programs. One for CHP, combined heat and power. Imagine if you have a generating facility in your company and you're producing power. But you know what? That throws off a lot of heat. So what happens to the heat? It's wasted. We're going to capture that heat and reuse it to help heat or cool our buildings. Talk about efficiency. We're just changing on how we manage it. There's $2 million available for a 3-year pilot program, the CHP. And that money comes out of existing funds that you already pay for on your electric bill. It's not a new tax. It's not new money. It's a new direction of where the agency's going. And as I spoke about the organic waste, I know Senator Guglielmo and others have projects in their district that a lot of farmland out in Connecticut. We love farming. And with animals on farms, there's a byproduct. Once they eat, there's a byproduct. Well, we tend to just move that around the fields and we use it for natural fertilization. But there's something else, a new technology that's coming forward. And that's organic waste. We can burn that for energy. And the thought is, we have a huge, huge college, our flagship university, the amount of students that attend that university and eat in the cafeterias or eat on off-campus housing. Wouldn't it be great if we did something productive with the waste food that is produced in those facilities? This may allow that to happen. Building an organic waste energy generation project on the property to supply the campus with power, cutting down rates for the ratepayers. A few years ago, we deregulated the energy market in Connecticut. We said, the power companies are out. We're not going to allow you to own or operate your own power plants. And then we had to pay them for the required sale of their assets. But the time has come, as we have seen, that we've built up our alternative supplier market, that the experts are not only in private suppliers, but I believe the utilities have expertise as well. And this bill allows each of the utilities to own or operate 10 megawatts of power in the state of Connecticut. And it also allows private suppliers to bid on 10 megawatts of power. And we say, why is this? Allowing the private suppliers to bid on the 10 megawatts of power will give us a baseline. And we'll see if the electric distribution companies come in on target. We'll know because we have somebody to compare it to. And this legislation provides protection. The thought was before in the past, one of the reasons why our rates were so high was because the EDCs, or the power companies, could just pass it on through their rates to all the ratepayers. If they were going to lose any money, well, we'll just pass it on to everybody here in this room that pays an electric bill. No biggie. This bill speaks to that. This bill says when you go in to bid, if you're going to bid on a power generation, it's for the cost of building the plant, no more. If it goes above that, you go back to your shareholders and you get the money from them. That is a win-win for everyone. That speaks to the generation side of this bill. The other things that I found to be very exciting for ratepayers in Connecticut, and there's some programs that we're going to be doing. As Senator Fonfara said, we are going to be offering a time of use rates and meters. I'm excited by that. I'm not excited as a family man because I couldn't control my kids, and I know that they wouldn't care and they'd turn anything on whenever they want. But the people that are conscious about when they use their power, what a fantastic way of getting a sub-market rate on your electric bill the other 20 hours of the day. There'll be 4 hours identified by the electric company, and you'll know what those hours are. They're going to say, this is the rate for those 4 hours. Other than that, the other 20 hours are going to be below what you're paying now. What an incentive to save on your electric bill. If you can change your habits so you don't use all your energy-consuming products during that 4-hour period. One of the things that I thought was great, and I think a lot of people will take advantage of, is the furnace financing. If you want to switch from either electric, if you have an electric heating system in your home, to either oil or gas, or switch from oil to gas, you can finance that on your bill. A lot of people don't have the upfront cash to put out to make sure that they can get a more efficient, reliable furnace. We talk about furnaces that are over 7 years old, but you know what? You are going to save yourselves, because if you have to buy less oil or use less electricity, it's a win for everyone. And in order to do that, I urge everyone to take advantage of the home energy audits that you hear on the radio and on the television. And we've said now, we've set at a rate that's equal. Before, you paid a different rate, or you got a different rate on your rebate if you had a gas or oil house versus an electric house. Now we're saying if you're willing to go towards efficiencies and have the home energy audit, everybody pays the same. It's about fairness and equality. I had some concerns last year about the appliance standards that were in the bill, but this bill truly moves us into a direction where Connecticut should be. Most folks follow California, and we've talked about that in generalities. Well, it happens in California, maybe 10 years later we'll adopt it in Connecticut. We're not going to wait the 10-year period, folks. We're saying if the standard is adopted in California, that's the way the manufacturers make it, and that's the way we're going to adopt it in Connecticut. Because all that's going to do is make it better for each and every one of us, because if it's an electrical appliance, we're going to use less electricity, and we're going to save more money on our electric bills. There's a concern, and I didn't realize how prolific it was until I sat on this committee, about how many people have their electricity shut off during the summer. We have a provision in our statutes that say, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's either September or October, is the blackout period. You cannot shut off your electricity from that month until March or April, somewhere in there. And then if you haven't paid your bill, if you're in arrears, the electric company will come out after notice and will turn off your power for non-payment. Is it because those people are right on the edge? And that's in the thousands, tens of thousands of residences a year. Tens of thousands of folks go the summer without electricity. And I often pondered why that would be. Tens of thousands. In some cases, that's more than my home community, my entire town. I have 10,000 people population in my hometown. I can't imagine almost an entire town, if in the aggregate, will be without power for the entire summer. Why that would be that they couldn't pay their bills. I know our electric rate's a little bit higher, but how can we help them pay their bill? There's so many programs out there that surely they should be able to find some means of paying their bill. But Senator Fonfara brought up a great program in creating a low-income discount rate. And maybe if we were able to tweak the rate that aggregates out to make our electric bill what it is, people can put that in their budget and pay their electric bill so they never have to worry about a shut-off again. Again, under Senator Fonfara's leadership, we're utilizing and looking at existing programs. We're not saying, okay, well, we need more money for that program now too. No, that's not the case. We're looking at the programs out there. We're going to say what programs working and which ones aren't, and let's fund the ones that do and make sure that we can reach and help those in our society that need the most help. Nobody should have to go without power in a home. The creation of the Green Bank will help Connecticut in that not only will it be the agency in charge of giving out the financing for the projects, but it's also going to be somebody that can maximize federal dollars, looking for charitable organization, philanthropic donations. We're going to leverage the state dollars so they go farther and wider to more people, to invest so we can decrease the cost of energy and electricity in our state. You might have heard around the circle this project known as Project 100 or Project 150. And that was a project that this legislature passed years ago with a commitment to build either 100 or 150 megawatts of power. Guess what, folks? Nothing's been built. They keep coming back for extensions on their contracts. Well, can we get another extension? The time of contract extension has ended in this bill. If they don't have the shovels in the ground, if they're not producing power, at the end of their contract, they will not be renewed. And with that will come pressure. Pressure by salesmen. We see that now in the alternative supplier market, and we want to make sure that those folks know what's being delivered to them. They're not being delivered a bill of goods, if you will, but factual information. That's why we've adopted a code of conduct in this bill. And the code of conduct outlines what the salespeople have to tell you. Because there's many, many parts to your electric bill. You have your generation part, and then you have your transmission and delivery part, and then you have all the additional taxes and programs that are in the bill. Imagine if somebody said to you, came to your home and said, I can save you money on your bill, and just showed you the generation portion of your bill. And you thought, wow, that's a great thing. I can save that much money. I'm going to sign up. But they neglected to tell you basically the other half of the bill, including all the systems benefit charges that are on there. This says you have to explain the entire bill. You can't just give them a piece of the bill. You have to explain the entire bill to the folks. And if you're going door to door, if you're like me, I don't like door-to-door salesmen at my homes. This says if you're going to go door to door, you can only do it between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. unless you have an appointment with the folks. Because some people like to conduct business, and this is at the residential. This isn't in the business. Imagine if you woke up on a Sunday morning and getting ready to get dressed and go out to church, or you're coming back from an appointment and there's somebody there with a pamphlet trying to hand you to tell you about an electric supplier, you wouldn't be very happy. But we also want to make sure that they have a right to sell you their needs. So they're going to have a photo identification. They're going to identify who they're selling or working for. And they're going to do it within a set prescribed number of hours. There are programs that allow municipalities to enter into with private contractors. A contractor come in and say, we can reduce your electric bill or your energy needs, and we're going to pay for it if you allow us to do it. Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, that actually happens. We do that now currently in our state. I know that we've experienced it over in the LOB. We all got notices over the summer that we're replacing the lights in your office. And it's through these funds, that's done. In the end, we're just going to save on our electric bills and our energy needs. I got a phone call from a business that wanted to know, they had somebody knocking on their door. They wanted to come in and do an evaluation of their energy needs of their business. And they said, all right, come on in. It was a manufacturing firm, and the gentleman said, I can save you X amount of dollars, and if you don't mind, I'm going to come in, we're going to replace all your lights in your manufacturing plant. And the owner said, well, what's it going to cost me? He said, nothing, you just got to let me in to replace the lights. And the guy didn't believe it. He said, this is a joke. He's trying to pull something over the wool of my eyes. So he called me. He says, Kevin, is there such a program that this company can come in and they'll change all my lights in my business and it doesn't cost me anything? I said, there absolutely is. Today he's saving money on his energy needs because he went forward and he did it. Madam President, all those things I've outlined go towards changing the direction of our energy needs in Connecticut. And if I may, for you, Madam President, I have just a few questions to the proponent of the bill.
Senator Panthera, prepare yourself. Senator Witkos, please proceed.
Thank you. Through you, Madam President, in Section 92, it talks about the procurement of standard service. And under, I think it's Section 92C, the cost of the contracts that are entered into under the procurement plan, those are only going to be recovered from the customers taking standard service. Is that correct?
That is correct, Senator. Through you, Madam President.
Senator Witkos.
Thank you. And in the section that we spoke of, the initiatives that are available for consumers, whether it be a no emissions or low emissions, when they enter into that contract, under the current language, the commissioner is allowed to reduce the incentive. But once the customer enters into the contract with the customer, that incentive remains the same for the life of the contract. Is that correct, Madam President?
Senator Panthera.
Thank you, Madam President. Yes, the contract itself remains steady for the 15 years of its life. The Commissioner is able to, based on the formula in the bill, reduce each year, not of the contract, but of each year of the program, the starting point of that, of a contract. But once the contract has been agreed to and awarded, it cannot be changed for the life of those individual contracts. Through you, Madam President.
Senator Witkos.